Welcome back, everyone. This is Asterion from Asterion Gaming. Today we're running the raid known as the Siege of Orgrimmar. Now, this was the endgame raid in Mists of Pandaria, which had to go up against Garrosh Hellscream. Now, actually, this raid starts in Pandaria, and you end up going to Orgrimmar.
Ah, we adventure together again. Except this time, I am afraid the circumstances are much more dire. The land is scarred. The ever-blooming trees and plants wither and die as the water from the pools drains away.
Now, the first boss is literally just a straight run up to him, known as Mercis. Here we go. Now, he'll attack players directly using the Shaw Bolt, which launches a shadow damage spell at enemies within distance and forming a pool at the target location. If you stand in it, you take damage.
Once, the Titans used these life-giving waters to create and shape all life in Pandaria. It is these waters that kept the Vale in bloom. Their runoff into the Valley of the Four Winds created the most fertile farmland in the world. And now, the malignance of the old god has manifested itself within the waters. Such a foul, foul thing. Destroy it, before it seeps deep into the soil and corrupts all of Pandaria.
Yeah, he tends to talk a lot, but once you get out of the Pandaria part of this instance, you don't worry about him anymore. But getting back to him, now he has Swirl, which causes torrents of shock-corrupted waters to burst beneath the cracks in the ground. You come in contact, you take shadow damage and get knocked away. Now, Corrosive Blast is something that tanks need to be aware of. It flicks a good chunk of shadow damage to the primary target and increases the damage you take from shadow by 300%. So you got to make sure you switch that out. Now, Seeping Shaw, if you come in contact with Seeping Shaw that surrounds Mercis, take shadow damage and get knocked back. Which more or less means still don't go into the water that's around him. He has a big hit. He has a big hit radius. Now, because we're on Mythic, we have Swelling Corruption. The Mercis surges with power, gaining stacks of Swelling Corruption, proportional to his corruption level. The power lashes out at players who strike Mercis with the single target abilities. Basically, collates, I can't even say that word right, but it turns into Shield Shaw, which deals 100 shadow damage every sec for 6 seconds and increases his damage rapidly with each additional stack. Now, when you knock him down to 0 HP, he splits into 2 types of puddles. One is a Shaw puddle, which you need to destroy. The other one is a contaminated puddle, which healers need to heal. Now, when you take out the Shaw puddle, once destroyed, it gives you Shaw residue, which increases the damage you do to other Shaw puddles within distance. But you have to be fast on killing these. Now, healing the contaminated puddle, the speed of the puddle wanes as it increases your health. So basically, it gets a bit slower as you heal it. It makes it better for you to heal it up. Now, when it reaches full health, it releases this purified residue, restoring mana and increase the healing done, and it does stack. Now, Erupting Shaw, when any puddle reaches him, it triggers an eruption, inflicting shadow damage to every player. For any Shaw or corrupted puddle that gets to him. If it's a purified puddle, it will do frost damage. Now, on Mythic, we have a Shaw pool. This grows over time, inflicting shadow damage over a second to anyone who touches it. And stacking increases rapidly in its damage proportions to the number of stacks. Touching it will cause it to shrink. And it will expand if a puddle reaches it. So we're going to get into this fight. It might take a little while, but you'll see the mechanics more or less. Now, as you see, once he breaks down, you'll see where the puddles are going to be. Blue is for the healers, and the black is for damage healing puddles. Now, you'll get the buff from them if you're right next to them when they go down or heal. Luckily, you can solo this. You just gotta... If you're not a type of class that has a heal or anything, it'll take a little longer. But since I have a paladin here, I'm able to do healing. Now, as you see, I got increased healing done. And as his corruption bar goes down, so does his HP. So he had only 61% HP at that time.
Get something first.
Now I believe it. I'm not 100% sure, but currently, if you just knock him down to 25%, I believe you get to clear the dungeon, the raid here, the fight.
I need
now
to
you
get
see
closer.
the puddles growing, and they're getting closer. They only have to get to the water now. If they touch the puddle, that'll trigger an explosion. So back then, the whole raid would have to spread out evenly to take care of the situation here. Because if not, well, AoE damage would be enough to kill you. And see, I believe you get him down to 25 to 20% HP, he is purified. And that is his true form.
Oh,
giant elemental.
You have done it. The
Water.
waters are pure once. Can you feel their life-giving energies flow through you? It will take much time for the Vale to heal, but you have given us hope.
Now, the next boss we're coming up to are the Fallen Protectors. I'll explain the fight a little bit, because I believe he has dialogue again here, and I don't want to have him interrupt me. Now, you just come up here to hit the switch, and I'll bring you into the next area.
Can it be? Oh no. No, no, no! The Golden Lotus? But they pledged their lives to defend this place.
You? Rook knows you.
Oh yes, Rook Stonetoe, you remember me. What has happened to you?
Rook doesn't know. Head is cloudy.
We know only despair now. A fitting punishment for our failure.
I see. This Shaw energy has trapped their spirits here to endlessly relive their failure. It feeds on their despair.
Please, help.
This is a fate far worse than death. Please, heroes, set their souls free.
Now, the important thing you need to remember about this fight here, the Fallen Protectors, is the Bond of the Golden Lotus. So basically, if you knock one down to 1 HP, you can't kill them. They all got to go down to 1 HP at the same time. But if you do that to one and not the others, they'll cast this. And if they get the full cast, they recover 30% of their maximum HP. So basically, you will switch between each one of these for a phase. Now for Rook Stone Toad, he has Desperate Measures, which upon reaching 66 and 33%, he manifests his forms of his friends, which is Misery, Sorrow, and Gloom. Basically, one does nature damage, one does fire damage, and then one does physical damage. I'll let you see those real fast. Now, on Mythic, luckily, these all share health, so if you focus fire one, you take all three. Now, for his other abilities, known as Vengeful Strikes, he inflicts a good chunk of physical damage per second for 3 seconds. Corrupted Brew, he hurls a keg of brew at a distant target, inflicting shadow damage to everyone within distance, and slowing them by 50% for 15 seconds. Now, on Mythic, every 2 casts, the brew's travel time is reduced by half a second. Now, this resets when he does his Desperate Measures ability. Now, Clash, he'll charge against another enemy, which each other meeting halfway. Then he'll immediately begin to perform Corruption Kick. Basically, he spins rapidly in a circle, rooting himself, inflicting physical damage to targets within distance every second for 4 seconds. Additional Torment target strucks, they take additional shadow damage for every 2 for 6 seconds. Now, he's Softfoot. His Desperate Measures is called Mark of Anguish. It puts it on a random player and roots them. You can transfer this mark to other players within distance. But the ad known as Body Anguish will go over whoever's Mark of Anguish. Now, when he strikes the target with it, they apply Shadow Weakness, increasing the damage they take from the ad. Passing the mark applies Shadow Weakness to all players, and it can stack, so you just don't want to be playing hot potato like willy-nilly. The best idea is to pass it on to possibly a secondary tank or someone who's wearing plate. Now, debilitation, you possess the Mark of Anguish, debilitate to, decreasing your armor by 85 for 2 minutes. Now, he Softfoot, right? Yeah, he is more or less a rogue. He has Garrote, Gouge, and he's Poison. His poisons are Noxus and Instant. Now, Sun Tenderheart, her Desperate Measures is Dark Meditation. It's when she enters this, inflicting shadow damage to all players. Now, if you're inside the meditated field, you take 35% less damage from her. Now, during the time, ads will spawn known as Embodiment Despair and Embodiment Desperation will focus on people. Now, you need to attack these in order to break her out of her Desperate Measures. During this time, though, she'll fire bolts of shadow energy at players and take damage upon the impact site. She has basically the abilities of a Shadow Priest, which is Shawshear, which increases shadow damage around a certain player whoever's targeted. Shadow Word Bane inflicts shadow damage every 3 for 18 seconds. And each time it does damage, it will jump to an additional target up to 3 times. Now, Calamity, she'll strike all players for 30% of their maximum health, but this also removes Shadow Word Bane on all targets who have it. Now, on Mythic, it's increased by another 10%, so on Mythic, we take 40% of your health as damage. So basically, this will increase each time it's cast. So you really want to focus her probably as the second or third in your rotation. Because every time she casts this, you're losing more and more health. Now we're going to get into it. We should be able to actually blow through this pretty fast. Because I believe I can knock them all down in a couple shots.
protectors, come to my aid!
Rook needs help!
And
We
you
have
see,
not
I got
fulfilled our
stunned.
oath.
I don't have a time.
Feeling better now.
Be at peace, dear friends.
Thank you, little friend.
May your souls become one with the land you gave your life to protect.
Now this next part is pretty easy. You can choose to kill certain ads to make the last guy at the end here at the mine entrance easier. By killing Vanity, and I believe there's another one over here. Arrogance. Yes, arrogance and vanity. If you kill those ads, you'll take away the ability that Zeal will be able to use. Or you can just straight out go right for Zeal. Most of the groups I ran only took out Vanity. They didn't want to kill the additional ads to get to Arrogance. But as you see, here's the mine from the cutscene. And again, the Lord Walker Cho will be making an appearance at this boss and the next boss in this part of the raid.
Astounding. Another chamber that looks to originate from these titans. It must have been hidden away long before recorded history. And with good reason. In the chamber ahead, under our peaceful land, slept the heart of an old god.
Halt!
Oh my, what is this? Hello, I am Lord Walker Cho.
No further corruption will enter the heart chamber.
Further corruption? Oh no, we are here to stop the corruption and save Pandaria.
You wish to purge the corruption?
Yes, please let us pass.
Should you pass this door at this time, you would fail. You, all of you, are corrupted with the insidious plague known as pride. You stand tall and proud atop your accomplishments, and this will be your downfall. Should you wish to defeat the corruption, you will first need to purify the corruption within yourselves. Speak to me again when you are prepared to face your inner demons.
Now for this boss, Nurishan, you actually aren't fighting him. You're actually going to be fighting the amalgamation of corruption. Now you'll be trapped within this quarantine zone, more or less. Now the corruption, you'll start out at 75 points of corruption. The more corruption you have, the less damage you can inflict. Now if you can get to 0 corruption and become purified, different effects happen. Healers gain a bonus to healing. Tanks take less damage. Damage dealers will deal greater damage. Now you can be re-corrupted, so you have to be careful. Now if you don't destroy the amalgamation within a certain time limit, this guy here will end up immediately killing your whole raid group. So you're kind of on a time frame. I believe it's either 6 or 10 minutes you have to kill this ad. Now during this time, he has Unleash Anger, which does physical damage to the current tank. Self-Doubt will put doubt in his target, increasing the damage they take from Unleash Anger by 40% per application. Blind Hatred, he'll create a zone of corruption that extends outward and slowly turns in place. If you're caught inside this, you take a good chunk of shadow damage every second. Fusion, Every expelled corruption that reaches the acclamation will increase its damage it does by 8% for 15 seconds. Healers need to be aware of Icy Fear, which does frost damage to all players, and it will get more powerful as it loses more health. Now, Frayed is when it hits 50% health, and for every remaining 10% health, it spawns an additional unleashed manifestation of corruption. Now, during this time, you'll see golden orbs laying around. You click on these in order to get rid of your corruption, and each test is different for each type of spec. For damage dealers, you take on Serenity. Now, if you fail, you release whatever corruption is still within there onto the raid group. Now, for DPS, to complete the challenge, you must defeat the elements of corruption present. Now, when one of them is destroyed, it gets released upon the raid group. Now, for healers, it's Reliance. You must defeat a greater corruptions. You'll be aided by several allies. Basically, you need to keep them alive while they take out the corruption here. And now for the tanks, it's Confidence. To complete that challenge, you just need to survive for 1 minute against a Titanic corruption. Now, Unleash Corruption, when you defeat the element of corruption during one of your tests, you'll be back in the realm fighting the boss again. During this time, Manifest of Corruption and Resonant Essence of Corruption will spawn during the fight. You just need to burn them down as fast as possible while avoiding the boss's abilities.
Very well. Prove yourselves worthy, and I will let you pass.
See, this is the quarantine zone.
The light cleanses, but it is not gentle.
I
Gird
can't attack that
yourselves
target.
and be purified.
And those are the orbs right there that you'll need to click on in order to get your corruption down.
You have been judged and proven yourselves worthy. But be warned, what lies beyond will try your souls to their utmost. When you are fully prepared, you may enter the chamber.
Now, to summon this next boss, all you have to do is kill all the ads in this room. And there is Terranzul.
The corruption is amplifying. The fragments must be purged before it becomes too great.
Oh, Terranzul, Joe. The outsiders. They did this. We should never have let them in. Don't speak, friend. I will take you to the healers. I will find help. Try to hold off the shore for as long as you can.
Yeah, just because I'm on my tank here, I'm able to just grab all these little suckers and burn them down. Back then, you didn't want to do that because of the nasty little debuff they could put on you. Plus, once you defeat them, they explode and you take damage.
It did not matter. It comes. Steel your hearts and prepare your souls.
Come, face me. Give in to your pride. Show me your greatness.
Now, this is the Shaw of Pride. Now, you start this encounter with a pride bar. You start at 0, but whenever you're hit by an ability from the Shah of Pride or one of the minions, you get 5 pride. Now, as you gain pride, you get certain things happening at 25, 50, 75, and 100. It does these effects. Now, during this time, the Gift of the Titans will be given to you by the big guy here, which grants you immunity to pride for 20 seconds. Additional, if people are sitting within distance of the one with Gift of the Titans, they gain the power of the Titans, which gives them increased haste and all damage and healing by 15%. Now, when the Shadow of Pride hits 100 energy, it releases a wave of dark energy inflicting shadow damage and giving everyone 5 pride. Now, additionally, it'll trigger a second effect on any player with 25% more, 25 or more pride. At 25, when Swelling Pride hits, it creates a massive shock corruption at the location. After 3 seconds, it explodes, inflicting shadow damage to all players within a distance. Now, if you get hit by the explosion, you gain 5 pride. At 50, Swelling Pride will cause projection, which forms 15 yards from the current location. They explode after 6 seconds, inflicting shadow damage unless the projection's creator is standing within it. If hit by this, you gain 5 pride. At 75, Aura Pride will happen, which causes players to inflict shadow damage to nearby allies every second. Getting hit by this gives you 5 pride, of course. Now, if you get hit when you're at 100 pride, you are overcome, increasing damage and healing done by 50%. Now, if you're hit by Swelling Pride while you have Overcome active on you, you get Mind Control and have your health increased by 100%. So basically, you get the buff first, but then next time he casts it, you're going to get MC'd. Now, Mark of Arrogance, he marks 2 players inflicting shadow damage every second, and for the remainder of counter, and it can stack. Can only be removed by single targeted spells, giving the speller 5 pride when removed. Now, Wounded Pride will wound the current target for 50 seconds. They gain 5 pride whenever they suffer melee damage from the Shaw of Pride. This is when tanks need to know when to swamp. Once the tank gets this, the other tank needs to aggro. He needs to taunt immediately. Now, during a fight, manifestations of pride will spawn periodically to attack players. They cast Mocking Blast, will increase gives them shadow damage and inflicts additional pride. Now, when it dies, it gives 5 pride to the closest players, the closest 2. Now, Self-Reflection causes 5 players to reflect on their ashes, causing a reflection of pride at the location. With each tick of self-reflections, the Shah focus on the players with the highest level of prides, only targeting those with 25, 50, then 75. Now the reflection will explode, so just stay out of the distance and you won't get hit. Now, Corrupted Prison, he'll activate 2 Titan Prisons. What you see are these little circles around, trapping players within it. It releases a burst of Shaw energy, inflicts the shadow damage to all players and knocks them back, giving them additional pride. Now, the players who are inside are stunned and suffer shadow damage every couple seconds, I believe, and they'll gain pride while they're in prison. So breaking them out is your best option. You have to have all these locks activated to get them out. You must stand on the rune locks, which are, I believe, are these 3 right here, or it's this. Yep, it's these glowing spots here. A player needs to stand on each of them. You need 3 players to break out whoever's been in prison. Now, on Mythic, he has Banishment. He'll banish a random player to the Shaw realm. They'll leave behind their physical form of their pride and remain managed till it's destroyed. While you're inside the Shaw realm, you move faster and are compelled to continuously run forward, unable to stop. Additionally, you come in any contact of corruption with the Shaw realm, you take shadow damage every second. If you're damaged while you're in the Shaw realm, you gain pride, of course. Now, while you're in there, orbs of light form within the corrupted realm, healing the players for 50% of their maximum health and weaken the corrupted image left behind in the real world. Each orb increases the physical form's damage taken, which you need to grab these to help people burn down that copy of you so you can get out. Now, ethereal corruption lurks within the realm, instantly killing you if you come in contact with it. The other ability on Mythic is known as a stable corruption. It tears open rifts of corruption every 6 seconds, launching bolts of corruption at random players every 5 seconds. You'll take shadow damage and gain pride if you hit. Players can close this rift, causing an exploit, inflicting shadow damage to all players. Closing the rifts will afflict players with weakened resolve, preventing them from closing another rift for a minute. Now, the Shadow of Pride can strike a distant target, inflicting 50% weapon damage as Shadow, and increasing the damage they take by 25% for 8 seconds. He only uses his ability if no one's within melee distance of him. Now, when he hits 30% health, it becomes Unleash. And when it unleashes his power, it kills the big guy here. At this point, you need to burst everything you have, Bloodlust, anything else. All cooldowns need to be used, because this becomes a DPS race. More or less, because you no longer have the Gift of the Titans helping you. During that time, he inflicts shadow damage every 10 seconds for the remainder of the counter. Now, you take 5 pride each time you're damaged for it. But the good news is, once big guy here dies, he reduces your pride of all players to 0. So this gives you a chance to burn this sucker down. We're going to get into the fight. I should actually be able to burn him down before he even kills the big guy here.
I brought help.
As you see, there's Jaina Proudmoore and Lothamar.
So Hellscream's arrogance unleashed the last of the Shah. I am not surprised.
Look here. He left his weapon behind.
Gore howl.
This means he's completely unhinged.
News to no one, Regent Lord. King Rin's fleet is converging on Orgrimmar as we speak.
Likewise, Sylvanas and I have both sent ships to support Vol'jin's revolution.
I'm warning you, Lorthamar. The Alliance is besieging the city, and we will destroy Hellscream. Your people had best stay out of our way.
It is always a pleasure to see you, Lady Proudmoore. Champions, come with me. It's time to settle grievances with our war chief.
I see. That's the first part of the Siege of Orgrimmar. This has been Asterion from Asterion Gaming, asking you to please like and subscribe to these videos. I'll see you guys in the next one.